I actually can't believe that this happened with Ben and Jerry's in the last couple of days. And I also can't believe how invested in this whole situation I am. Context. You might not have seen this on social media, but it has gone totally viral. The guy who started this business like 47 years ago has stepped down because he just doesn't agree with the way that the business is now being run since it's been bought by Unilever, right?
Yeah.
And quite a few people have sent it to us on Instagram. And reading like the way that he resigned or like what was shared on social media, I don't know, I felt so sad, and I also felt equally proud and empowered and like full of hope that people are standing up to what is currently a really fucked up world, and to have built something for 47 years and then step away for moral reasons, like, I don't know, I think it's very brave.
I think, it's been going on for so many years, this whole Unilever Ben and Jerry's thing. Yeah.
Okay,
like they've sued Unilever twice.
Oh,
like
shit.
it's been, so Ben and Jerry's sold their business to Unilever in like 2020 or maybe earlier than that. But they had this weird deal where they could remain independent within Unilever so that they could have their own board, make their own decisions. But that's obviously been fraught with like disagreements because it's like you've kind of got this independence, but you're also owned by someone else. Anyway, Ben and Jerry's has always been very socially vocal, and Unilever didn't like that. And
when
so
you say socially vocal, what are some of the things that have come up in the last couple of years?
Oh, they're just very pro gay rights, like all of that. Like, and they've always come out with like funny tubs of ice cream, that like kind of encourage the conversation. And so they've always been very vocal with their views on things. Anyway, when the war in Gaza started happening, they pulled all Ben and Jerry's products from Israel because they were pro-Palestine. And Unilever didn't like that, but then they were like, well, we're our own independent entity within Unilever, so we can do what we want. Like, it's just been like so much back and forth. And now he's obviously got to the point where he's like, screw it. I'm out.
So basically,
and then also Unilever's selling their ice cream division anyway. So there's just like lots going on in the whole space. Like Unilever's like, we just want to remain independent. We don't want to be like pro-Palestine, pro-Israel or anything.
They're trying to be Switzerland. And just sit in the
and
middle.
then Ben and Jerry's is like, no, we have to be vocal about this. We have to, there's so much going on in the world. We have to be vocal. And then, so I can see both sides, right? Like but it is very sad that they, after 47 years, you're like, you know what? I'm going to have to leave.
I also think it's incredibly brave as a business owner to stand up against what is going to inevitably impact your sales, impact your reputation. And like, there will be people who really respect you for that, and there'll be people that absolutely lose their mind over it. And I just think when you have a whole lot of your own personal finances tied up in a company, and the success of that business and financial success of that business is something that you're personally, attached to put that aside and have social issues be kind of more important to you than overarching sales or people liking you or agreeing with your point of view, I think is quite inspiring.
Yeah.
Should we read the caption? It says, to the Ben and Jerry's community, it's with a broken heart that I've decided I can no longer in good conscience and after 47 years remain an employee of Ben and Jerry's. I'm resigning from the company. Ben and I started back in 1979. And honestly, just like that is so long ago. This is one of my hardest and most painful decisions I've ever made. This isn't because I've lost the love for the people at Ben and Jerry's, quite the opposite. The folks who show up every day in our factories, scoop shops and offices are some of the most passionate, caring and values-driven people you've ever met. They are the soul of Ben and Jerry's. What has made their work so important to me and what has allowed the company to be more than just an ice cream company was the independence to pursue our values, which was guaranteed when Unilever bought the company. For more than 20 years under their ownership, Ben and Jerry's, so it's been 20 years they've been under their ownership. That's ages.
Or maybe the disgruntledness started in 2020.
Wow, that's a long time. Ben and Jerry's stood up and spoke out in support of peace, justice and human rights, not as abstract concept, but in relation to real events happening in our world. That independence existed in no small part because of the unique merger agreement Ben and I negotiated with Unilever, one that enshrined our social mission and values in the company's governance structure in perpetuity. It's profoundly disappointing to come to the conclusion that independence, the very basis of our sale to Unilever, is gone. And it's happening at a time when our country's current administration is attacking civil rights, voting rights, the rights of immigrants, women, and the LGBTQ plus community. Standing up for the values of justice, equity, and our shared humanity has never been more important, and yet Ben & Jerry's has been silenced, sidelined for fear of upsetting those in power. It's easy to stand up and speak out when there's nothing at risk, which is so true. It's so true. And these guys are doing it even though they have a lot to risk. They have a lot at risk. The real test of values is when times are challenging and you have something to lose. Love, equity, justice. They're part of who Ben and I are, and they've always been the true foundation of Ben & Jerry's. From the very beginning, Ben and I believed that our values and the pursuit of justice were more important than the company itself. If the company couldn't stand up for the things that we believed, then it wasn't worth being a company at all. It was always about more than just ice cream. My God, what is with me at the moment? I feel like I'm just get so emotional. It's with a very... It was a way to spread love and invite others into the fight for equity, justice, and a better world. Coming to the conclusion that this is no longer possible at Ben & Jerry's means I can no longer remain part of Ben & Jerry's. If I can't carry those values forward inside the company today, then I'll carry them forward outside with all the love and conviction I can. With love, Jerry.
I'm also like, what about Ben? Ben's like, I'm just going to stick around. He's like,
Totally.
he has been like, so like.
But
yeah.
I guess that's what you would want, right? You'd want to have a little part of you or a little part of like how you want to show up in business left. And if Ben can kind of be there and at least hold his own in some capacity, that probably feels better for Jerry than not. I can imagine. Like
I would be like, if we truly started this business on values and morals and they don't align, we should leave together.
Yeah.
That would be anyway.
But but that's kind of my point. I mean, I guess we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's just like someone from the Curve community sent this to us, and I sent a message just being like, this is heartbreaking and also kind of full of hope in a weird way, standing up for what he believes in by walking away from something he spent nearly 50 years building. That's like so moving to read and watch. Like, thank you for sending. We'll definitely talk about it in the Curve Weekly. And she replied saying, totally agree. It's so sad to have worked that hard on your legacy and to have tried to make a difference in the world. I can't imagine how he must be feeling. I wish that other businesses and world leaders had this moral compass, an inspiring man. And the thing that she said is, if you do cover it, I would love to know more about the history of the Unilever takeover and how we got here. Poor Ben. So like, is there anything else to share on that? Like, did they were bought 20 years ago?
Yes, but yeah, like I said, they could keep their own board of directors. So they're an independent company within Unilever, which is quite a weird setup. But that's obviously just created more friction. If you're bought by Unilever in like a normal, clean transaction, you wouldn't have say in anything that gets done. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like they kind of had this say, they're independent, but they were also under a big parent company. And so, yeah, it's just
that's kind of the dream for any business, right? To have the backing and financial support of a big company.
Yeah.
But to be able to make your own decisions.
Yes. But like you can have that on paper, right? But if they're like, if they own a certain percentage of you and they don't agree, like it's like with any transaction, right? It's like you can sell the dream and it can sound really good on paper, but then in practicality, how does it actually play out? And I don't know, maybe Unilever didn't realize how
passionate they were.
Passionate and vocal and like, yeah. So they didn't realize that something like the Palestine-Israel conflict would come to a head and have this. But yeah.
I guess it's also like
and it could be the reason why Unilever is actually wanting to sell its whole ice cream division. It's like, you know what? Kind of too hard basket.
I wonder if they will still sell it if he's leaving.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. It's still happening.
Yeah, still happening.
I wonder if like, you know, we've spoken before about contracts and like the importance of them and stuff. Like, I'd love to hear your insight. Like, they obviously did a really good job at trying their best to make sure that the sale enabled them to still remain independent, have their own voice and blah, blah, blah. And they've lasted 20 years. So there was obviously like push and pull.
Yeah.
But it's been like hard, I imagine, for everyone, Unilever and Ben & Jerry's. What would your insight be, or like thoughts in general on when big businesses buy small ones, and like what, when you read all of this news, what do you think would have been happening behind closed doors?
I think it's always just think of worst case, right? And this is probably worst case. But like when going into any contract, if ever they're like, I don't know, just it's like with a prenup, it's like with any contract, it's like what could be the worst case scenario, and play out those worst case scenarios in your head. Always, whenever you sign contracts, it's always, well, not always, 9 times out of 10, it's in a really good, calm setting. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like when shit hits the fan, that's when and emotions get involved and all of that. So
I wonder what it means for Jerry as well in terms of walking away, like from a shareholding perspective. Would he just be like, it's sort of now out of his hands, so whatever part of the business he owns.
He was only an employee anyway. Yeah,
so
he
they
was
were bought
on a
out
salary. Yeah. So he's probably made quite a bit of money anyway.
Yeah,
but it's still like his baby.
But like even that in itself, don't you think? Like if you've been bought out, say someone bought the Curve and then 20 years later we're still working in it.
Yeah,
that's a pretty ginormous sign that you love what you do and
totally.
You're really passionate
well,
about it.
And you've got your name attached to it as well. Like if this business was called
I didn't
Vic
even
and
know
Soph.
Ben and Jerry were people, to be honest.
Yeah, no, neither. I thought they were
But it was cartoon characters.
Yeah, but that's Tom and Jerry. Yeah. Every time I think of Ben and Jerry, I think of them.
What's Tom and Jerry?
The cat and the mouse. Yeah.
Oh my God, I've always thought Ben and Jerry's was that. That's so funny. So every time you bring your hand up, Vic, we need to just be aware it looks like you've been in a battle. There's a ginormous bruise on Vic's forearm. If you can't see it, watch on YouTube.
It's gone disgusting and I'm so sorry.
I think it's gone better, in all honesty.
It's kind of gone like...
It's the weird stuff in the middle.
I don't know. It's kind of... It's like hard.
Oh, you do have a hematoma. That's what it is.
What is it? Everyone says hematoma.
Okay, so
is it a hematoma?
It's basically where you've had such a whack, like there's so much impact that your like
it's
blood tissue. Yeah, it's like scar tissue. Yeah. So
how do I get it
I
out?
think you might need to get it massaged or something.
Oh, it's so sore. I'm not getting massaged right now. But yes,
maybe
anyway.
give context for what happened.
I fell over.
Thank you for that detailed story.
So I went on holiday last week and I was on a boat and they just got new floors and I got onto the boat, literally was on there for like not even like 15 minutes and just skidded. My feet came under and I landed on a like a door frame, like the door frame going in and outside to inside, and I went inside and skidded on the new floors.
God.
And came down on the door frame. And I was like, I'm fine. And like I was putting my bag inside and so like shit went everywhere. And I was just like, oh, I was like, hi, I'm
Did
back.
you cry?
Yeah. No, but it was more the shock. I was like, oh my goodness, what just happened? And they were like, oh yeah, we've just had the floors done. Sorry. Like everyone on the boat knows.
And you're like, where's the slippery when wet situation?
I was like,
give me a sign.
Yeah. And then the whole time I was like, I know how old people feel because the whole time, the rest of the day I was like really unsteady on my feet. You know, you're just a bit like, you just
like you don't trust the ground
anymore.
Yeah,
like you're just kind of like, oh my God, am I going to bail again? And then like, yeah, but it honestly didn't hurt that much, but it's pretty.
I reckon it did, and I think you were in shock and embarrassed.
Probably.
And your body
I also
probably
had like a long sleeve dress on, so you couldn't quite see. Yeah, and then like progressive through the day, and after a few drinks, I was like, look at my bruise.
All I will say is I hate it when you really hurt yourself and you make a big deal out of it and then there's like no bruise to show for it.
Yeah.
So at least you've got a whopper to be like, how brave am I?
It was honestly like a cluster F of a trip. Like it was
the whole trip or the
just
boat?
like, you know, when you go on a trip and you just have to laugh at how much shit goes wrong.
Oh my God, what happened?
Well, like there was tube strikes in London. So getting to the airport was an absolute shit show. It was torrential rain.
And anywhere in the rain is like
so getting an Uber
slower.
was like
not happening.
Just not happening. I had 2 different Uber apps, so did my friend, and we were just like, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm really cutting into my buffer of, you know, my time to get to the airport. Finally got to the train station, went down, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make it.
Fall over.
I'm gonna make it. And then they were like, this alarm went off, and they were like, evacuate the building. And I could see the train approaching, and I was like, come on. And it just kept going. And I was like, no.
Oh my God.
I was like, the best way to evacuate the building is get on the bloody train. But no, anyway, so I came back up, standing in the pouring rain. I didn't have an umbrella because I was going to the south of France. And I called Flowerman and I was like, I'm not going to make it. And he was like, just walk to the next station. And I was like, I can't. It's like torrential rain. Anyway, went back. They opened it up about 15, 20 minutes later. I was absolutely drenched.
Oh, 20 minutes when you're trying to get to the airport
went down,
is ages.
Yeah, and you're like looking. It went down. Anyway, got on the train. I was like, oh, phew. And then I was on the train nearly at the airport. And I was like looking at my flight, checking in. And I was like, oh my God, the flight's half an hour earlier than I thought. And I was like, so I was running.
Vic.
Then we got there and we were like, oh, we made it. And we arrived in Nice and our bags didn't arrive. And we were just like, and you know when you convince someone to put their bag in as check-in luggage?
Oh, you've done that to someone else? No.
And so I was like, I'm so sorry. And then we were staying an hour and a half out in Nice. So we're like, okay, well, do we stay here in case our bags arrive? Do we leave? Like,
What?
so then 2 days later, got our bags for one day of the holiday and then had to come back.
Oh
but actually got reimbursed for
gosh.
everything. Like, you had to buy new toiletries and everything. And like, thankfully had very generous friends that let me borrow their underwear.
Didn't you just buy underwear?
I know, yeah,
You're buying
I did,
skincare, but like, I'll borrow your undies.
But yeah, it was.
So that
just
sounds like a
bit-
shit show.
Oh yeah, and then we were going to go to Paris afterwards because Flower Man had work, but then that got cancelled. So then we had a train to Paris, no flights home. Quite laughable. Oh, and then there was thunderstorms. So what we went down for was the sailing, and the sailing was cancelled. And so yeah, it
Sounds like a
great trip. Had a really relaxing holiday.
Do you know what's so funny about this is I actually haven't heard this, but all I saw was like your post on Instagram, which was like, Saint Tropez, here's the pool, here's my cool house. Like, oh my God,
It
that's
actually
so
was,
funny.
but like you have to get to that point where you're just like this, like what more could go wrong? Oh, cool, there's something else,
Yeah.
Whereas it could have spiraled and been like, this trip sucks.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
I was just
yeah.
like laughing. I was like, well,
Here we go again.
Here we go. Yeah,
I
that
feel like
was
that's
really
the
fun.
story of my life, FYI. Like, I think
Yeah.
what happened to you on that trip is every day for me.
No, it was, it was nice to catch up with friends and have lots of admin.
See the storm?
And see the storm, yeah. But TikTok is here to stay.
Okay, this is huge news.
Yeah. So, yeah, for the last 18 months, it's kind of been this back and forth of like,
Has it been that long?
will TikTok stay in the US? Will it not? Yeah. And so there's been an agreement this week that TikTok will stay in the US. The US arm of the app will be bought by kind of like a consortium, like a group of people. So Oracle is one of them.
Is that who sponsors the sailing?
Yeah. Well, they used to. I don't know if they. Yeah.
Just remember in the commentating, whatever it's called, being like, and Oracle something or other's making a
probably
climb up the left.
climb up the left, tack to the right, and then another PE company, another venture capital company. So there
Private
is
equity, PE.
yeah, PE and a VC, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ETFs and S&P, yeah.
Yeah. I met someone at an event yesterday and she was like, we were talking about, I was saying what the curve was and she was like, oh yeah, I was in IB. And I was like, sorry, you were in what? She's like, IB. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And she was like, investment banking. I was like, oh, vomit. Like, why does this happen? Sorry if she's listening to this because I did tell her to listen to the podcast. It was more just, I was like, this is so classic. Like, you guys just lived in this world where it was like just the building blocks of acronyms.
But like, same with you in your world, right?
Yeah, true.
Like,
The ad-lib. We've got the ad-lib at the start of the
yeah.
the pre-roll and the
pre-roll,
post-roll.
post-roll. I'm like,
So
ham and
true.
cheese roll? I'm like, what? I don't get it. Like,
Oh my God, that's actually valid.
yeah. But I remember even like content, I did content. I'm like, what the fuck is content?
Yeah.
You know, like it's so broad.
I
It's
think
like,
every industry has their jargon, right? Like you go into
Like
a
I now know what content is, and I'm like, yeah, we do content. But like,
I'm glad you do after 4.5 years. Stunning.
but like it's kind of. I feel sometimes when I maybe not my parents, but like if I tell like the older uncle,
You start talking and you realize you're also talking.
yeah,
Like
and I'm
almost,
like, oh, yeah, it's content business, and they're kind of like, that,
over.
like, yeah.
yeah.
And is it weird that I sometimes like it?
What, the jargon?
Just like, yeah, we're just like, no, that's
you don't know what I'm talking about? Shame.
yeah. I just think that this whole, like, the whole career, my whole job and like what I do every day is deciphering shit for other people, that it's kind of nice sometimes to just.
That is so funny. I love that so much. She like gets a little kick out of it.
Anyway,
All
that's
right,
mean.
it's so funny.
Yes, TikTok is here to stay. The key thing is though, this weird relationship. So we have this new US company which is licensing the algorithm, the TikTok algorithm from ByteDance, the parent company that owns TikTok in China. So it's just licensing this algorithm to then feed to US people. So it can kind of control what people see.
So, okay. So let's backtrack for 1 second. So the main thing about TikTok that makes it so unique and what is everyone's obsessed with, the like kind of golden ticket for TikTok is the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Like the algorithm or the way they serve content, the way that people find things, the way stuff goes viral, like that is like really almost its IP, isn't it?
Yes. And the reason this whole conversation came about was that the US was getting scared that it was all the data was being sent back to China and they were like, having eyes over what everyone in the US is looking at, and there's like privacy issues and like all of that.
It was almost like they were paranoid about what the secret eyes of TikTok were doing, or like kind of worried about it being a breach of people's privacy and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, threatening national security was kind of their like.
That's right.
And that's how they got around the free speech thing, right? Was it's national security, because everyone's like, it's free speech, like we should be able to like consume content on it.
Content. I heard someone call it tent the other day, and I thought that's a bit far.
Oh my God.
How are you going with tent? How's the tent going? And I
You're
was
like, what tent? No, I'm not camping. What?
Yeah. Refuse to go
Oh
camping
my God,
again.
love. That's just that's too far for me.
Yeah, no, tent is
I'll probably throw it out there one day though, just to make
How you going with the tent?
Yeah.
Sorry, move on.
Yes. So sorry, that was the kind of the whole push and pull was like, well, no, it's free speech. It's, we should be able to consume content on whatever platform we want. And the government was like, no, it's national security risk anyway.
And then what was happening was basically the US was saying, if you want to have TikTok in the US,
you have to sell it to a
US owned company so that we feel we have control from a national security standpoint.
And this has been going on for like so long. And then it got to like that 11th hour, like not that long ago. It was like 6 months ago.
And everyone was bawling their eyes out.
And everyone was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my income. And like, fair enough. It's like when you've built up such a brand, but then it's been delayed. Like the ban date has been like pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
And a very good PR campaign.
Totally, yeah. For Instagram, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, I reckon also for TikTok, because
the number of people though at the 11th hour were like, follow me on Instagram.
Oh,
they would have just been like, come here.
Interesting.
Yeah. But also, I think this is a really good step for China and the US. Like the fact they've agreed on something.
So
I don't know.
This is like a little slither of hope. Like,
well, I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive, but.
So hold on. So with the whole algorithm thing, so basically this company now has access to the algorithm and is almost the intermediary between TikTok and the US.
Yes.
So that the US can breathe and feel safe and fine with the whole thing.
And it's got its own board of directors with a member from the US government on it. I just think it's going to be.
What do you mean?
Well, I just think
when there's regulation like that involved, it's almost like it's ruining the magic of what TikTok is. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and I just feel like it'll be interesting to see what we see being in the UK versus what our US friends
Actual
see.
Content, you mean? What we see?
And just like the updates and like all of that kind of stuff. Like, do they get that? Do they not? Like,
I feel like the whole.
Do people actually want to say what they feel? Not now knowing that there's someone from the US government that's owns the business. I don't know. Yeah.
I think in all honesty, maybe this is being really like reductive to people who are using TikTok as their main source of income. But I imagine while they're aware of what's going on with the US and with the purchase, of course, because it was like all over TikTok. I think people will just be happy that it's staying. I don't know if they'll be looking into it in too much detail, being like, oh, there's a US government official on the board of this company that now is the intermediary, like.
Unless they start cracking down on.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think that if anything, the main thing it's made me realize is social media in general, like so many businesses rely on it, us included. It's a huge part of how we market the podcast and our brand in general and everything we do, our investing club. I think that there's probably a bit of a realization amongst a lot of businesses how fragile and also how political it is now. And just the what felt independent is like starting to really not feel that way.
It's also realizing what you're fed is not independent, right?
Oh,
even
God,
if it's
that freaks me out.
Yeah.
It freaks me out so much. And also, we're kind of, complaining about the ginormous division between like left and right. And really, it does stem a lot from politics and whatever people believe. But yeah, the way that the algorithms are designed is to feed that like insatiable hunger to like reaffirm your own political views or your own views or whatever.
Yeah.
To think that there's all these little echo chambers. I don't know. It really freaks me out. And the idea that, you can get quite frustrated with someone who has a particular view on the world, right? Because you're like, how do you believe that?
Yeah.
But you have no idea what they're being fed in their algorithm.
They've been fed that for years and years and years.
It's like quite brainwashing.
Yeah, definitely. But miraculously, China has now dropped a antitrust probe that it had against Google as well.
Oh.
So there's a lot.
Something's going on.
Yeah. So there is there would have been negotiations behind this being like, okay, if you drop this, we'll agree to that. Like,
So backtracking, about 9 months ago, and actually this has probably been going on for a while, so tech companies have become bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're like these big monopolies that own so much. Like, it's like Amazon. It's the anti-competitive nature means that it can be really hard for other brands to sell stuff online because Amazon kind of just takes like 90% of market share or whatever. It's the same thing with Google. When it comes to searches, they are so dominant that it's like the anti-competitive thing was basically China slapping these giant fines and trying to like it was essentially them being like, if you're going to come at us for TikTok, we'll come at you for Google. And so now are you saying that essentially that's like been dropped?
No, so it was, yes, there is that going on, and that's been going on in lots of different countries because it's getting like effectively too big for its boots. But this was more around its Android operating system having to be on certain smartphones and like kind of dominating that. So yeah, essentially it's just like saying there'll be so many other things I think that will go on behind the scenes. When these big deals, I always think when these big deals are like, and it's news headlines that TikTok has agreed to do this, it's like, what else was behind the scenes? What are the 10 other things that you've given up or agreed to or whatever to get to that point? Because I think what we see is like the tip of the iceberg, to be honest.
Have we spoken about this? I don't know if I've already said this, but have you watched the Netflix show Hostage or Hostages?
Yes. Yeah.
You know how, so
Oh, yeah.
I won't give anything away, but basically it's about the UK government and the French government and all of the kind of like political dealings that go on behind the scenes and the deals they're making with each other to get certain things.
Yeah.
And I know it's dramatized. I know that this is a TV show, but it really opened my eyes up to like what a game politics are.
I'll give you this if you give me that.
It's so and like just the idea of power and what power does to people and to want to stay in that position to be able to make decisions and the things that you'll do and give up and compromise to get what you want. And I just think this is one of those things, like imagine the conversations to get to this point.
Yeah.
Like it would have been.
Well, and money is power, right? And like there is a lot of money on the table with TikTok, with Google, with like all of that. So, but I do hope this is like the start of like, hey, you know what? Let's work together here.
Yeah.
I think I'm very hopeful and naive.
I mean, it's better than the opposite, right?
Yeah.
We could be seeing them going further apart, continuing to like, I think this is, or maybe I'm also being naive, but I feel like this is better than the opposite.
Apparently people have to download a new app. So a new TikTok app.
God, can you imagine being you'd just be like screaming at them because to get someone to download an app is like difficult, right?
Imagine having
transition millions and millions of people. Like you're going to lose most of, well, not most, but a lot.
If I had to download a new app to follow US people, I'd be like, oh, no.
Oh, is that the thing? So it's specific for US content
specific
creators.
For US, yeah.
Even as content creators, they'll be gutted because that sucks.
For all Trump's sins, there is one thing that I have to get on board with that he has announced this week, and that is changing reporting for US public companies to twice a year, not 4 times a year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So in New Zealand, in the UK, in Australia, everyone does it twice a year. So you have, as a public company, you have to report to investors your financial results, at the end of the financial year and then halfway through. So twice a year. You can do more if you want. If you wanted to do monthly, you could. But there's obviously a cost with that, right? Like you have to do accountants and lawyers. And in the US, it's always been quarterly. But that actually instills like this real short-termism view by CEOs because they're like, oh, we need to put out a good quarterly result. And like 3 months for a big company is like nothing.
Also this for any, to like, just not, oh my God, I'm just realizing how many political chats we're having today, but like not to liken this to politics, but it's similar to the idea of being in power for a country.
Yes. Yeah.
You're only in power for a short period of time. You're not thinking about 50 years time what's happening to your country. I mean, maybe you are, but point is, it's the same thing with businesses. Like when the targets or the things that you're having to report
are 3 monthly,
are short term, the decisions that you make or the way that you are in your job, you make different decisions if you're thinking about short term or long term.
Definitely. Yeah, it just takes away this whole long term focus, which is how we invest as investors, is for the long term.
And so is the reason that, with these results that come out quarterly, do you think that is really a huge amount of the volatility and the idea of share prices going all over the show? Does that generally happen? Like if you zoomed in on a year of the stock market, is there generally 4 kind of dips?
It depends, right? Like some companies are pretty consistent, like supermarkets, for example, you know, they're not like shooting the lights out, being like, oh my God, we had millions more people attend the store, you know, but then there's ones where like we had Oracle last week and they've just announced a ridiculous contract with OpenAI. Yeah, or like tech companies, when you get a big contract and it just like shoots the lights out in terms of revenue, then yes, that'll create volatility. So it depends, but it does create more news, means more things you can react to or as investors. So I think it's a really good idea. I think also it makes it more attractive for companies to float on the stock market, which just means like go public.
Float on the stock market.
That's
this
a
is
new
new.
one. If you're going to float a company.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that what it means?
Yeah.
Like
you're going to float on the stock market.
Oh my God, fun.
Floating.
It sounds really fun. I want to float.
Floating up. Yeah.
And is the idea of floating on the stock market like what? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's just like
we love it.
Another little analogy.
Okay.
But yes, it's hoping to encourage more companies to float, because otherwise, you know, if you have to report your results 4 times a year, that's also costly.
I was going to say time consuming for your
yeah.
business.
So, and there's been a decline. Yes, we've had a lot of IPOs last week and like the last few weeks, but there's been a natural decline. Like less companies are wanting to go public, and like then back in the day it used to be kind of like the glory of like being a public company, and now it's just like, oh, it's actually quite admin.
Yeah.
So
rather not.
Yeah.
So okay, right. So has this been brought in now? Like, when does it start?
No, it's been tabled in terms of like it's been discussed, but it's not like done and dusted yet.
Right.
Yeah. An update actually on the Klarna IPO, which we spoke about, but it hadn't actually listed when we recorded.
So has it listed now?
It has listed. It listed at, so the price was $40 and it's now at $45. So it's done quite well, which is quite rare, but so is the stock market. The stock market's done quite well over the last few days, last week. So yeah, done well.
What does that say to the broader view of like the financial state of the world and where people are in terms of like Klarna is buy now, pay later. So it is the idea of people living outside of their means. Do you think that gives any kind of indication as to like?
No, I think it's too new.
Okay.
Like it's too much of a new technology, but I think it is when you see the missed payments start going up, that's concerning. So they report like people that, you know, what they call defaults, where people have not been able to pay the second or the third or the fourth payment, that when that starts creeping up, that's concerning, because that means people can't actually.
Yeah. That's also where they get more revenue, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And lastly, with Tesla.
We haven't talked about Tesla in ages, but that generally means something's happening behind the scenes and we've missed it, and now we've. Sorry, I mean, I'm so dramatic. The point is, when you don't hear about something, often when it makes a comeback, it's because you've missed the opportunity to invest.
Yes. Oh.
So I'm getting a feeling here that we've missed something, everyone. Oh my God. Shit. I knew it. Okay, so Vix just showed me a graph. I did say this about 9 months ago, didn't I? And so did you. Yeah. We were both saying the same thing. So off he pops. He's gone off. He's left the US office, and he's gone back and focused on Tesla, and it is back in the
80%
game.
80% in the last 6 months.
So it's gone plodding along, down, looks terrible, starting to make a cut. When did it start making that climb up?
About
March?
May.
Oh my God. That is honestly,
yeah.
Sorry, but for all of Elon Musk's all of Elon Musk's sins and things that I don't like about him, he's obviously
he knows what's going on in his own company.
He's very good at running his own business.
So he has just bought $1 billion worth of Tesla stock.
Wow, what an F you to everyone else.
Yeah.
Do you still own Tesla?
Yeah, and I bought more.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm like immediately wanting to buy it.
I felt really sick when he was like in bed with Trump and doing all that, and I was like, oh. And then as soon as he left the office or got kicked out or whatever, I was like, nah. I was like, the fact that it was when they announced those targets, you know, that he was going to be compensated. Yeah. So it was like he can be awarded $1 trillion of stock if he reaches these certain targets. And he did it last time. He shot the lights out last time. He's now bought stock. He's signed this deal. He's bought stock. Like, you don't buy $1 trillion worth of stock if you think there's a slight chance you're not going to hit those targets. So I'm just like, happy days.
Sorry, can I just tell you, I was just looking at my investments. I have invested in this thing called Shark Ninja. Have you heard of it?
Oh, they're like
Something to do with vacuum cleaners, I think.
vacuums, frying pans, hair. Like that's the new like air wrap.
It is up 43% since I
Nice.
invested in it.
Nice.
Sorry.
I have a Ninja fry pan.
Am I a professional investor?
I mean,
Sorry.
do you want me to comment? I'm like, anyway, this is a massive green flag. And we've talked about this a lot in terms of, you know, when a founder or CEO, someone inside the company that can see what's going on, buys a whole lot of stock. There is
give an example.
no bigger green flag than that.
Okay.
And when someone who already owns 13% of the company doubles down and buys $1 trillion worth of stock.
Surely this is going to go viral. This little tiny clip of Vic talking has got to go viral. Because honestly, think about it. It's like, it's kind of like.
And I know a lot of people might not agree with Elon Musk's and, oh my, Musk's? Why can we not?
Imagine if there was two of them.
He's got about 14 kids, so there's quite a few.
Oh.
And I know a lot of people don't agree with Elon Musk, but this is a great example of like, well, do you want to make money?
I mean, this is the debate, right?
Yeah.
This is the debate because it's so hard to sit on this. Like, it's really interesting. I'd be curious to know anyone that's listening to this podcast for some more insight into the types of ways you want to invest. Because, like, I mean, the dream one day would be for us to be able to invest on behalf of the community, right? Like,
And
how
also,
amazing
like,
would that be?
Yeah.
But, like, understanding what is the tilt of the curve community. Like, is there an element where you just are quite interested in making money and you're not super worried about the
I just think it's more everyone's different, right? Like you might be like, absolutely not. I do not want, there's Shark Ninja. I'd way rather make money in that. And I'm like, no, you know what? Like for all his sins, I am fine with making money in Tesla. Like
Emily, can we get you on the mic for a second? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to get a third opinion here. You're going to have to make a snap decision. Come here. 3, 2, 1. Would you invest in Tesla if it meant you were going to make some money?
That's too hard of a question because yes, obviously I want to make money, but not through Tesla. So it's a no. It's a no from me.
Okay, interesting. I really want to know in the comments of this podcast, if wherever you're listening, would you invest in Tesla if you were making money, or are you kind of like, nah, I'm absolutely a no from Elon?
And I also think this is a really good example of like when you give your money to someone else to manage and they outline, this is what we will and won't invest in. Like you have to agree with that at the onset. Do you know what I mean? You can't then be like, hang on, I don't want you to invest in that, or I don't want, because it's like, no, you almost signed an agreement saying, yes, I might agree with 90% of what you've written down, and there might be a few things I don't agree with, but I'm willing to hand over that decision making to you.
Well, the difference between giving your money to someone else to manage is that you don't get as much of a say as to where your money's going.
Yeah.
Like you get the like professional lens and you get someone else making those decisions and blah, blah, blah. But like ultimately you don't have as much control.
Like to me, Tesla has taken so many cars off the road and made such progress in reducing emissions for this planet. Like you nobody can disagree with that. Like for me, that's enough to make me want to invest. We actually talked about Tesla in the club before it started moving, before the share price started going up. So if anyone out there wants to be in the know with companies before they start to move, then join the club.
Yeah, join the club. We'll put the link in the podcast show notes. But yes, would love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well.
Yeah.
It's so fun reading the comments. There's been so many lately. Also, we don't do enough self-promotion. If you enjoy the podcast, if you learn something, if you come back every week, please send this to your friends, family, anyone you think would be interested, because the more that you share it, the more that it helps us, the more that it changes. Like even just commenting, if you're listening to this podcast, helps like with the Spotify algorithm, which let's be honest is nothing on TikToks, but it's still really amazing. So please share, comment, rate the show. And thanks so much for listening. We'll be back next week. If you've just listened to this podcast and you've thought, some very interesting thoughts in there, some investing ideas, and actually maybe, for example, even like if you've heard us talking in this episode about Tesla and like whether or not people are buying or selling, this is such a good opportunity to check out the Investing Club, because this is where everyone is talking about what they're doing with their money and how they're investing. So you can listen to other people that is not just Vic and I rambling on a podcast.
And there's also a 7-day free trial. So if you're interested, sign up with the link in the podcast show notes.
Okay, quickly. The Curve was created to empower and educate you about investing, but we are not financial advisors.
Our platform exists for educational purposes only, and it doesn't provide personalized investing advice for your individual needs and should not be relied upon to make an investment or financial decision.
And always remember to do your own research before making any investment or financial decision.
We're here for any knowledge and support you need, but the final call is always yours.
And thanks for being here.
You got this.
Yeah, we know you got this.